Hello, everyone. My name is Mark from the Misplay Podcast, and you're listening to Eternal Journey, everyone's favorite Eternal podcast.
Welcome to Eternal Journey, the podcast.
What is up, all my knights and padawans out there? You are listening to Eternal Journey, the podcast that talks about all things eternal with a focus on limited play. I'm your host, Jedi, and this week is episode 61 of the show where we're going to be talking about good sportsmanship. That is right. We are a huge community and we are doing some pretty good things together. So we got to keep it up and maintain that positivity, and we're going to talk about how. But first, I want to welcome my great friends. Mr. Brewmaster himself, John Holio. What is up, buddy?
Hey guys, how's it going tonight?
It's going good, man. Going good. Excited.
Doing
Nice.
And that other luxurious voice is the man, the myth, Darth Herman 2. Alex, what is up, buddy?
What's up, bud? That was a great intro. I think it was funny just now because me and John were both muted out, and then when you said Brewmaster, like I didn't know who you were introducing first, but as soon as you said Brewmaster, John like unmuted, so we knew. John knew we were talking about him, and I knew we were talking about him. So what's up, guys?
Brewmaster.
And we're not talking about brewskis. We're talking about homebrews.
That was yesterday, National Beer Day, I think.
Cheers.
Beard? I have a beard.
No. Beer, man. Beer.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't have beer. All right.
The beverage.
The luscious, foamy beverage.
Mm.
All right, we digress. So, I want to talk about twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ, where you can catch me, John Holio, and Darth Herman 2 every week. 4 days a week now. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Hanging out, talking some limited, talking about a little bit of constructive, but mostly limited. Check us out, hang out with us, have a good time. If you can't, check us out on YouTube, where, we got some draft videos, some highlight reels, some things like that. A couple of tournament reports, and more importantly, the visual version of this podcast. That's right, where you can see everything we're talking about on screen, as well as my semi-luxurious mug. Not so much. Anywho, you can check that out. And a last piece of information for you. I just recently released on EternalWarcry.com a written draft walkthrough article. That's right, where you can go on there and I go pick by pick through an entire draft to include the deck building process at the end of it for you to enjoy at your own pace. So if you are more of a literal person and visual and like reading your information, I hope you like listening to it too. So you're listening to this podcast. But if not, then I guess you wouldn't listen to this podcast. Oh my God, I'm having an Inception moment. We'll move on. Just check it out. EternalWarcry.com, where you can catch the written draft walkthrough by yours truly. Well, I guess Alex would probably be yours truly because everyone likes Alex. So I guess just by me, the Jedi.
I was going to say, and look for it shortly on audible.com, where Jedi himself is reading you the draft primer.
Oh gosh, should I do that? Should I record like a little episode 61.2 and be like, greetings everyone, and today we're going to be doing the draft process.
I feel like you're obligated now.
Oh yeah, like I don't have enough things on my plate. Speaking of things on my plate, it's time for our shout outs. Good segue. Great job, John. Super good alley-oop, buddy.
Nice.
Yep. All right, shoutouts. We have a couple of new people joining the Jedi Order and some returning people. So I want to welcome WatchWolf92 for subbing to the Jedi Order on Twitch. We have probably Red TV, Dizzy Sook,
Dizzy,
Big Alfredo, Crystal Joestar, and then John Holio reaching 6 months, which means you unlocked your Darth Maul lightsaber. Congratulations, buddy, and thank you so much.
Woot.
I know that dude.
Hey, that name's familiar. Then we have Chesty Weaver coming in with several gifted subs as well as boosting the Discord. So thank you so much, Chesty, for that. Really appreciate the ongoing support. That's right. The Discord has been boosted, so you get the better quality in the voice channels. We get more emotes and a couple other perks that I guarantee you no one else is using. But yay, we got stuff and things. And then finally, our bits leader this week, Extinction, coming in pretty much the hype train conductor for the channel. Absolutely amazing. Always starting a ruckus early. Appreciate it. You're fantastic. You rock. Thank you so much, Extinction. All right, that does it. So, John, Alex, you guys ready for some pack one, pick one action?
Draft hype. Let's go.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, boom. All right, guys, on the screen, we have our pack one, pick one for those of you that are following along in the YouTubes. So, our pack one, pick one this week, we're going to start off with Urgent Missive. No, not really something we're worried about. We're going to go through this a little bit quicker just because we've been in this format for quite some time now. So if you are just joining us, yeah, all right, fine, whatever. Hey, I'll read them. Urgent Missive. I feel because we're constantly getting new listeners, so I don't want to alienate anyone. They're probably like, what cards? All right, Urgent Missive. Fast spell, 1 shadow, sacrifice a unit to play 2 1/1 cultist. Token of Destruction. This is depleted power with your choice of fire, time, or shadow. Grave Watch Ancestor. This is the 2/3 elf cultist at common for 3 time. Ultimate pay 6 to give Grave Watch Ancestor plus attack and plus health equal to the highest health amongst units in your void. How's this guy performed for you guys? I'm very happy with this card. It's not Windmill Slam, but I like it. I think this card is a great inclusion to any time deck.
Yeah, it's above solid.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the comments will show, it's probably the best one.
Okay. We have Assault Shield. This is the +0/+2 relic weapon for 3 fire. Summon +1 attack for each of your units. Meh. Precision Plunge. Give one of your flying units deadly and killer. It's a slow spell for 1 time. Not bad, but definitely not first pick. Yeti Cookmaster, yeah, we're just gonna move on. I mean, you can be cute with this guy in your deck, but it's, yeah, no. Ruinous Burst, 1 fire for fast spell, deal 1 damage to 2 enemies, so 1 and 1. And Contaminating Ritual, 1 shadow for a fast spell, give one of your units +1 attack, flying, and lifesteal. At the end of the turn, sacrifice it. All right. Going to you, Alex. Any of these? What's up? What do you think of these commons?
Those are pretty blah commons. I think if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Precision Plunge out of those 4.
Okay. Interesting. You like that in the blind, huh?
I mean, the Yeti is pretty lackluster. I mean, it's like if you're an aggressive deck, it's okay, and then if not, it's pretty much mediocre to bad. Whereas the Precision Plunge can be devastatingly good. So I mean, it requires you to get a flyer, which there's like a ton of. So I mean, luckily I wouldn't have to first pick this out of this pack, but out of those 4, it would be that.
Gotcha. Okay, but it still doesn't beat Ancestor though, right?
Yep, negative.
Okay. Going to our uncommons, we have quite a bit of doozies here. We have Touch of Resilience. This is the 2 shadow. Fast spell, give one of your units revenge, then give a unit, weapon, or spell in your hand revenge. Water Conjuring. This is the 3 primal fast spell. Stun 2 enemy units. Decimate, Windvoke, primal. And then, if that wasn't good enough, Wind Conjuring, 3 Justice, fast spell, ready a unit. It gets +4/+4 and endurance this turn. Decimate, Windvoke, Justice. John, talk to me, brother.
This is pretty difficult, I think. I've even come up on the Touch of Resilience. Is that Resilience? The shadow one there. I've even come up on that since I've been playing the format, but I think this one's got to just be Wind Conjuring, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually have come up a little bit better. I actually like Touch of Resilience the highest on deadly units and or removal spells. I think that's where you
Yeah, it's
really
so good with removal.
yeah, it's really
Oof.
strong. But I agree, the Conjurings hands down are better than the touches. And I mean, we've already talked about on the show how good Wind Conjuring is. I think it's just that card just is always good, always good. Yeah. So, but let's see if Alex has something different to say, because we do have a rare, and this one can perform. This is Unseen Longbow. This is 3 shadow, so that's kind of funny. All the top row is practically equal casting cost. Anywho, 3 shadow, +3/+0 weapon, so it goes on a unit. It has quick draw and pledge. So obviously, if it's in your opening hand, you could play it as a shadow sigil. And when the wielder hits the enemy player, they lose their remaining power, and you get that much power this turn. So if your opponent is of, like, for example, 2 of 5 and you hit them, then they will lose that 2 power and you will gain it. And then Spellcraft 3, play Hold Up, which makes your opponent discard 2 card random. They pick, right? Yeah, they pick 2 cards out of their hand, which, let me tell you, is absolutely amazing and limited if you time it to where they only have 2 cards in hand. But still not overall an amazing spell. So, Alex, what do you think of our rare versus Wind Conjuring?
Well, I like this card a lot. I have some recent experience with having a deck that had 2 of them in the deck, and it pretty much makes any 2-drop a great threat. It's okay if you draw it late because of the discard aspect of the card. It's okay in your opening hand if you're a little bit power jammed. Yeah, there's just a lot of great units you can put that on. So it's good in an aggressive deck. It's good like in a mid-range deck. I think I would pick the longbow for sure out of this pack.
Interesting. John, what about you?
Yeah, this is really kind of difficult. Like, all the 3 cards in contention, the 2 Conjurings and the Longbow for me, like, they're all double influence, and it's pack one, pick one. So that's like a little rough, but at least it's like an equal thing between that, right? So I think it's between the Wind Conjuring and the Longbow, and it's really close. Like, I think it'd probably be the Longbow for me, honestly.
It creates a unit that you don't want to block because it's gonna kill whatever unit that blocks it, pretty much. And the power drain part, if your opponent like didn't use all their power, can be pretty good at ramping you out. So it's a pretty effective card, and it's like good on basically all the quadrants,
Yeah.
Quadrant theory or whatever.
See, and I'm actually going to go the other way with this, and I would actually take Wind Conjuring here, and I'll tell you guys why. I think you're both 100% right. Unseen Longbow is extremely powerful and limited. I think the deciding factor for me is that they decide how they want to interact with Longbow, and they see, right? Because like you can't drop it and surprise someone, right? You will the turn you play it and you attack, and they thought they were going to be able to block, and they can't. And it's a very powerful card, but Wind Conjuring is a removal spell, right? It 9 out of 10 times it kills something when you play it, and sometimes that something is even a player. And then the fact that you get an extra card off of it with that Windvoke potentially being another legendary or rare, I think that's what sets it apart for me. I wouldn't fault anyone for taking Longbow, and I would happily slam Longbow. But the fact that Wind Conjuring is a removal spell and a card on top of that, I think is just enough to put it over the edge. And of course, you always set yourself up for a 2-for-1 with Longbow as well. That,
It does back to removal, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like using that 100% because, yeah, every unit dies to removal, but you are essentially going down a card if you play this on a unit, regardless if it's a small or big unit, and then your opponent does have an answer for it. So, like I said, I don't think you guys are wrong. I'm not like, oh, I can't believe you're taking this card. I think that's completely defensible. I'm just, me personally, I think here I would take the Wind Conjuring.
It's definitely a close pick either way. So, yeah, I don't fault you for the Wind Conjuring either.
Plus, I mean,
No, I mean, this longbow is going to also. I mean, it's basically a removal spell sometimes too, right? Like it's so close here.
yeah, like the turn you play it, they thought they were gonna be able to block and they can't, and then they.
No, I mean even just the hold up.
Oh, I
You just
got you.
snipe
Yeah.
snipe their last two cards or two of their three. You
Yeah.
know, like
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. That can be extremely powerful. 100%. Especially if you play it later in the game where they might have expend their removal or they're holding on to the last removal spell, right? And then you
Yeah.
play this. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I totally agree with you there as well. And then of course they both need units, so you can't even make that argument where like, oh yeah, you need a unit. Like they both need units to be played, so that's kind of out of the equation.
right. So, like they're very similar. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah. Um. Sweet. All right. Let us know in the comments below which one you would pick, because I think this was actually a pretty good discussion. I might actually throw this up on the Twitter as well. But all right, that is our pack one pick one, which means this leads us to our main topic, which is good sportsmanship. So, you've heard us talk about it and other streamers, mainly Cassandra and stuff like that. We have an absolutely fantastic community here where we help each other out, we breed positivity, and overall it's a fun place to play this great game of Eternal. But I mean, everyone has their moments, right? And what we're going to do is we're not calling anyone out, we're not trying to make anyone feel bad or make anyone feel good, etc., etc. All we're doing is talking about the things that could not only help improve the game for yourself, but for others that you're playing with as well. Because I've talked about it before, but sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up on you being the hero of your own story and not realizing that you're not necessarily the hero in somebody else's story. And it just, for lack of a better term, being an adult, right? And being good sports. Like there's always gonna be a winner and a loser in any kind of event. And so it could, the coin could fall on either side. So it's always good to handle yourself in a, I was gonna say professional, but I guess just a good sportsmanship is what it falls down to. So without any ado, let's go ahead and do some broad strokes real quick, starting us off. So a couple of things, let's start with the downs. I actually gonna flip it here. We'll start with the bad things or the less than great things about not being a good sport. And first is the fact that you can deter newer seasoned players from a game. Recently, we've had a couple of friends of ours and other people that I just know through the social media of Eternal leave the game because they just felt that the community was a little too toxic, which anyone that's played other card games that are more popular can completely understand, or even other games in general, where it comes to a point, especially with the internet making the world so small, where it's too easy for immaturity to creep in there, and all of a sudden negativity is just breeding more toxic environments than positivity, and most people want to move away from that. And so yeah, you can deter a new player, and we'll go in depth a little bit more in a moment. But yeah, there's easily you can come into someone that's only been playing the game for a short amount of time and they're feeling good about themselves, and all of a sudden they get harassed or bashed or something that gives a bad taste in their mouth, and they could easily just not come back. It can ruin a feel good moment for your opponent. Maybe someone brewed a deck of their own creation and they're excited to try it out, and all of a sudden they find out that it is capable of winning a game in the weird way that they wanted it to, and then all of a sudden they get bashed for playing quote unquote bad cards. And so you kind of steal that moment from them, where you might remember when you felt good about something, and now you're ruining that moment for somebody else. It breeds negativity for subsequent games. All of us have had that moment where something that happens in one game and a certain reaction can like tilt us or just put us in a bad mood. And so we carry that into the subsequent games, which then you're just kind of ruining the entire experience. Once again, it could easily be temporary. We all know about walk it away, trying a different format, et cetera, to reset that. But the fact that anytime something from one game can carry over to the other, it's an issue, right? It affects gameplay and things like that, and just your overall mood. So that's things you won't want to do. Alex, you want to round out the downs real quick for us?
Well, let's see here. So being negative, it using bad sportsmanship or whatever can not only affect your opponent, but it can also have negative, consequences for yourself. Like if you're in a little bit of a tilting bout and you're wanting to go off on someone, like in a message, like you said, like downplaying their deck, saying, oh, I only miss my power or whatever, like basically saying, you only won because of whatever reason. Really, you're really not good at this game or whatever. People say really mean stuff, but so like when you're in that bout yourself, if someone's going to be that way, it's got to affect your play. I know you can go into psychology and be like, maybe there's some people out there like that would make them play better, but generally I would think that would tilt someone out and make them, make bad decisions, and lose winning percentage. So it's like, it's just bad for everyone,
Oh yeah.
And then,
yeah, exactly. Like if you're sitting there just, I mean, you've heard it plenty of times. Even for me, sometimes I would correct myself where if you lost and complained because you got power deprived, and then your next hand is kind of sketchy, but it has 5 power or whatever, you might be like, well, I don't want to get power deprived again, so I'm gonna keep this or whatever. And you make bad decisions. Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. Okay, going into the positivity or the positive side of good sportsmanship, right off the bat, more positive vibe for yourself. If you're able to maintain, it really is, you kind of build your own destiny, I guess, for lack of a better term. If you can understand and put a positive swing on something, it puts you in a better mood, which essentially negates everything that we just talked about just now, as far as carrying that negativity into the next game and allowing it to influence your decisions. And it's easier to talk to other people as well. We're friends. We all listen to each other vent and stuff like that. But it gets to a point, we've all been in that point where we're like, all right, dude, like that's your 5th rant, today about different games. Like play a different deck or do something, because, you either built your deck wrong or your luck's not that bad. Like you guys have seen me have some pretty bad luck on stream, and I'm still not just like, So, it just helps everyone around you. It also helps build a better community. If you maintain positivity, right? People are constantly trying to look for things that make them feel the best. And if you're one of those Debbie Downer type people, or just super angry all the time, eventually, even subconsciously, people want to get some distance from you, just because they may not be in a position to absorb that kind of energy. And it happens, right? I think everyone has had that position where they've just felt drained from interacting with somebody. And so, not only on stream, maybe on Discord, maybe on a phone call or in person, all those things, it deters people. So being positive is the complete opposite reaction. People want to spend more time with you. They want to interact with you more. They find it easier to interact with you. And so you can build that kind of community where you can sit there and just play Eternal with your friends. And before you know it, you've been sitting there on Discord chat for a couple hours and not even realized it. It also helps mitigate the bad feels, right? If you're able to maintain positivity, and for example, let's say you just got dream crushed, right? There's a good chance that if you maintain that positive swing, you're like, well, my opponent drew very well, or they played super well. It really does actually mitigate some of the feel bads when you're like, hey man, like they played that super well. They had the answers to what I was doing every time. I thought I was gonna get them here, and they totally blew me out. And like, well done. And I know it sounds a little weird because it really doesn't change what happened, but your perception of it is slightly changed, and it really does help shrug off some of the flip side of that. You guys saw it the other day in stream where I was playing a game of Limited. In fact, it was against, I believe it was Titus and Blossom. I'm almost positive it was. So shout out to him if it was, and then if it's not, I'm going to feel really bad. But I'm almost positive it was him. Anywho, where I ran out my 3rd and final unit in my hand, and they were playing the game a little odd. And literally, as soon as I let go of the mouse and played my last unit, I was like, this feels like a Shenra speaks. And sure enough, they Shenra speaked me to oblivion. And like, I mean, I just laughed it off. I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, what a blowout. Like, man, they played that so well. They played like 1 unit just to bait me, and just played just enough to like somewhat hide what they had. And so like, I didn't feel bad about it at all. Honestly, instead of being like, oh my God, that's it, I just lost the game. And so it does work. It's a technique that definitely works. Alex, back to you, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, you said pretty much the ups, like what is good about being positive. I mean, it's just like you said, mitigates tilt. Like if you genuinely are saying or meaning, hey, good game, opponent, it's hard to like genuinely mean that and then also like be bad sportsman-like. So like if you stay positive and use good sportsmanship, it just, I don't know, it kind of helps that, like, just naturally. So yeah, it's good. It's a good thing to practice.
Just to flip the script from what we were talking about with the downs, just how you can ruin someone's homebrew, you can actually make someone's day that way as well. And that also helps mitigate any potential feel bads. If someone beats you with a homebrew, friend them and be like, hey man, like, holy cow, did you come up with that, or did someone else make it? Like, that was crazy. I know it happened to me one time. I was prepping. I was actually in one of the ECQs and I went up against someone I didn't know, and they hit me up with this almost like a shimmer pack deck, but before it was shimmer pack, or I guess after, I don't know. But go wide with wisps and all this stuff, and then played like all the fragments, the +1 their guys, and it was not a meta deck whatsoever. And they totally crushed me. Like, I just didn't have enough removal in my deck, and they went to town and smashed me. And like, I friended them, and I was like, dude, that was sick. And they ended up joining the Discord, and we became friends just because of that. And it definitely mitigated. And I mean, this was an ECQ, right? This is a competitive event, and I still managed to extend that versus potentially either being sour about it, not saying anything, or even worse, friending them just to bash them, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, someone else could have had that exact same experience, and their response could have been, just complete rage over the fact that this, non-meta deck, which makes it in their mind inferior or something like that, beat my deck. Like, how is this even possible? It's like, so they'll take it as as an even bigger personal slight. It's like, this guy came in here with this tech that, it's only good against my deck. You hear things like this, and thinking like that isn't going to help you come back next time with your own tech or a different game plan. You're just kind of going to ignore the positive things. Like, you could literally come out of that situation, like Jedi said, with a friend. Like, hey, that's a positive thing, but like, you could also learn something, as a result. And if your first response is, rage and bad sportsmanship, you're never going to learn anything from that situation.
Actually, funny, that just reminded me, there was a time where I was playing someone on stream, and we had him dead on board, but I was streaming, so I was explaining my plays, and then I don't remember if we managed to finish everything off. I think we did, because we had like a removal spell as well or something like that. And then our opponent friended me, and I was like, yeah, sure, I accepted. And they're like, way to BM me with the slow roll, like, you should have just killed me or whatever. And instead of reacting any other way, I just literally was like, hey, I apologize, I'm sorry, I'm streaming right now. So I was discussing my plays there and what we were going to try to play around. And the player immediately changed their tone and was like, oh shoot, my bad, this and that. And then actually came on the stream, and by the end of it, followed and joined the Discord and was chatting with us the rest of the stream. So, nice. And that, it was point blank there. We completely turned the scenario around. And so it can happen. But okay, all right, let's go into our more specific topics, talking about the individual ways where you can be a good sportsmanship. And the first one, which is absolutely huge in the Eternal world, because it's the easiest way to communicate, is emote spamming. That's right, you're just sitting there clicking away at your emotes. I'm not saying you just have to say one at the beginning, one at the end, or not say anything at all. You can, but we're talking about the people that are sitting there and and even going a step above, not even just spamming an emote, they're spamming like one of the more I guess not offensive, but more aggressive ones, maybe. Like, for example, there you go. They're just spamming the bohaha over and over and over again, or the good game super early, like before you're even close to dying. They play their bomb and they're just like, good game, good game, good game. Yes, I know, right off the bat, you can just silence them. That is 100% a thing, and I don't knock anyone for doing it. I don't, just because of the fact that it kind of fuels my fire, so I feel 10 times even better when I beat them. But yeah, right off the bat, you can just silence that, and that would stop you from tilting off on that. But I mean, it really is like there's no scenario. I think even against friends, if you're like chilling on Discord or whatever, I think even then people are like, dude, really, are you spamming me? So I think it's inherently universally accepted as bad manners. But Alec, go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit.
So I am one of those people that usually mute my opponent like as soon as I start the game, after like a hello emote, or like after the opponent does, and then after that, usually you're done, because I don't want to get distracted by that. And if the opponent's doing that stuff, BMing you, they're like doing it to try to distract you and like try to make you lose, basically, or lose your cool. So I just try to mitigate that by not letting them ever do that. Now, if I know you, I'm not going to mute you. Sometimes I wish I had, but you know, I didn't. But talking to you, Cookie, let's see. It's distracting, you know. It can like lead you to bad plays or whatever. So I mute that. I'm big on like not trying to lose percentage points for my winning percentage. So I also like mute the monuments, because people spam those ridiculous too.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry, that's me. I definitely do it.
So like if you're doing that ever to me, like I don't think we've ever played, but it's like in my settings it's already turned off. So
okay,
yeah, because I don't, you know, see, exactly. So even if someone's doing it to me and they're not meaning anything by it, I'm not going to get any from it, because I can't even, you know. But I'm a little psycho with that. I do admit that.
Shoot, you're right though. I mean, I typically don't spam it the whole game, but I do like, all right, I'm bored. I want, you know, I'm just gonna click some stuff. So, oh man, you're right. I can imagine someone being like, all right, dude, I'm moving. Stop clicking the tower. Oh man, and then yeah, and then obviously on the receiving end, being a streamer, like I have had some people in chat kind of go off when someone's spamming me, because it doesn't really bother me. But I've had people like, oh my god, opponent, like, bro, just mute him. So
enough with wahaha. It's like the worst emote ever. I hate that emote so much.
I feel like there's another one that's like just as bad.
Like, no good can come from wahaha. You know, it's all bad.
An interesting strategy. I think somebody did that to you last night after a punt.
A gift is always a pretty good one too. Because there's absolutely no gift that you want in this game. So people are like, a gift, and then they kill your unit, or they give you an Avagraft or something, and they're Asendel's gift, and you're just like, I want to flip the table. All right. Let's see. Moving on. And then, like, honestly, and this could be just my opinion, but I really feel like it just seems immature to me. Like, I can't imagine a mind state where you're just sitting there and like, I'm just sitting here and keep clicking blah ha 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 over and over. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just can't see someone at work on their lunch break in a 3-piece suit clicking on their phone just blah ha ha blah ha ha blah ha ha. Like,
yeah, I don't think. I mean, you have to pay more attention to actually specify wahaha, right? It's not like as mindless as like what you say you do occasionally, which is clicking the totem like without even really thinking about it. Like, this person is very consciously like, I'm gonna wahaha this guy, and then they're like wahaha, I'm gonna do it again, wahaha, like, and they're pulling it up and specifically clicking it every time, and you know, they're probably saying it in their head every time, like they really mean that wahaha. And so you know they're just in a bad mood.
You know, and then sometimes I have to be careful too, because much like what Alex said, is that it's easy to get misconstrued as well. Like, for example, one of the ones I have is tough break partner. So I normally say that when someone's like, when they miss their power for the third time and they're like, not what I have planned. So I kind of reply to them that way. But I can easily see that being like, yeah, I know you noticed, fool. You'll need to remind, you know, like, I don't know. I just have my generic game moods to try to respond to what the opponent did. You know, I have you have my gratitude whenever they say like, oh, that's very impressive. And that's even one of mine. Like, I totally use that's very impressive. When someone has an amazing turn on me, I'm definitely like, that's pretty impressive. So.
Yeah, I leave all the emotes on because I appreciate some timely emote banter, to kind of humanize the games and just kind of make each one stand out a little bit. Like I enjoy that for the most part, but like, yeah, if you're just one of these bwahaha spammers, like you just mute them and move on. It's not a big deal.
Yep. It's funny because I've occasionally seen streamers mute people for just saying anything. So it's like, greetings, traveler, mute. It's like,
yeah, I know, right?
It's like someone knocking at your door. Hi, can I tell you about Slam Door? Oh, all right. Have a great day.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I like to start my games with a greeting and end with a good game, but that's just me.
And then of course the last two things that we kind of already touched on is the fact that you could be emote spamming, like I said, good game ahead of way before you think the game is over with. Like, granted, I understand sometimes you just know the game is over, but it's still just bad manners. Like, let your opponent make that decision before you do. I don't.
Yeah. I think the one exception to that is if you're like just literally clicking it as you're killing them, which because it's a digital game, sometimes it's honestly difficult, right? To get to the good game in time otherwise. So
yeah, well, I mean,
like, I think that's fine. But
so I guess as a rule of thumb, and you guys can agree or disagree with me here, I think as a rule of thumb, to make it seem like it's not bad manners, do it on your turn when you're killing your opponent versus on their turn or the turn before, right? Because they still have a chance.
If you're doing it earlier than that, it's clearly meant as a BM thing, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, there's gonna be scenarios where it's identified they're tapped out, things like that, where they have no more reactions. But when you just played your game-winning bomb and then you're about to pass the turn where they have a chance to react, that's way too early because you could have the game locked up, but at the same time they could draw an answer or have an answer or something like that. So I don't know. And then of course there's also the flip side where you can just have to eat your words, which you may or may not. I don't know if that tilts people or not when they sit there and emote spam me the whole time and then I steal the game from them. I have no idea if they're just like, I've had a couple of people.
That's street justice.
I've had a couple of people spam towards the end like, you got to be kidding me, you got to be kidding me, you got to be kidding me. But then other people don't say a word, so I'm like, I wonder if if that tilted them off or not. Like I just see them like spamming blah and then chucking their phone across the room. It makes me feel good, but.
Like, because that's me. Like, I didn't emote you the whole game, basically. Like, and I wonder if that's tilting. If people are like blah-ha-haing me and like I didn't ever say anything the whole game to them. I don't know. So I hope I'm like reverse getting in their head.
Yeah, because I definitely don't respond with that either. I definitely don't like hit people up with reverse emoting them back whenever I start to take the upper hand. I just quiet professional, like, cool, that you can keep spamming if you want, but it looks like I'm taking this game down. So yeah all right. But of course, I don't think I would fault anyone for that little bit of like poetic justice of like, as soon as you take control of the game, be like, thanks for the game, or like, whatever, like, blah, back one time before you kill them, whatever, that's fine, I guess. I wouldn't.
So you're advocating a little timely BM.
I mean, just for the people deserving of it. Like, once again, my personality is the quiet professional. Like, I'll sit there and just smash them. But I think I would laugh if someone got emote spammed the entire game and then at the very end just be like, hey, bro, like, not as I went planned, or what, I don't know, whatever witty one you can get or whatever. I mean, you can always go for the thanks for the game. That one's completely innocent. You would say that regardless if someone was emote spamming you or not. So I think that's fine.
Well played.
Which actually would probably be the best one, because then that shows that their emote spamming never phased you. You're like, hey man, thanks for the game, appreciate that. And then in your mind, you're just like, get wrecked, fool. Ha ha. All right.
Okay, Jedi.
You
very sportsmanlike.
You say that like I haven't been on Discord with you during your games. I'm gonna backlash this dude into next week. Oh my god!
I'm gonna ruin this whole man's career with this backlash.
Like, something that goes along with the emote spammings, and we didn't even write it in the notes here, but it's just so obnoxious. And you don't see this stuff as much in when you're playing draft, as much as in constructed. It seems like to me, anyways, like the draft people that draft are like have better sportsmanship generally. It seems like, but maybe that's me being too general. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, or at least like high level people that I play a lot.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Maybe like that's why I'm biased, because I play like a lot of the same people a lot, and like, they don't do that kind of stuff. But
well,
roping, I was gonna say, it was like when someone does that to you, like you just got to try to let it go and
get Parmalee,
you know, right? So if someone's gone to that, and roping, I don't see that as much in draft unless like people are really going into the tank, you know.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious when it happens, right? Like you manage to steal control of the game, and they drew one card, and they rope to play the card, and then they rope to pass the turn. It's really obvious when people do it, and I don't know. Like, why don't you just lose the game and then play a new, like queue up a new? I don't know. Why would you like prolong the punishment? You know what I mean?
Bad sportsmanship.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're probably like, are you trying to hope that someone's trying to play in between, like on the elevator, so that
you've wronged them by beating them at this game, and so their only recourse now is to rope you.
And yeah, like you said,
that's all they have.
Hope you disconnect somehow. You know,
like I always give them the benefit of the doubt, and there's me throwing my positive swing again. I always like, oh man, I guess their baby woke up, or like, oh, maybe class started or something, and they had to put the phone down. So
yeah, to be fair, I mean, stuff like that happens plenty. You're talking about when it's like very clearly like
clearly roped.
Yeah, fair.
Like you can almost tell when they're disconnected.
Fair.
It's different, you know. But
they're roping you, but you see their hand like.
Yeah, because they rope and then get into a play.
They're still like flashing their cards the whole time. Oh my gosh, that's next level.
So obnoxious.
So like,
so like bad sportsmanship that happened to me, real like small story, was like, I think John was observing the game even, was my phone crashed on me. So I had to leave the game, and the opponent was already muted out because I do that. And I missed like a trigger on something, and then when I come back, he's blah-ha-haing me, like spamming blah-ha-haing me, because when you come back to the game, the setting is turned off that you muted them. So I was like, oh, see, I knew I muted this guy for a reason at the beginning. But yeah, it's like there's people like that out there laughing at my disconnect, you know.
I need to put that one on my list. Thanks for waiting, or thanks for being patient, or whatever, that one.
I use that one because sometimes I'm busy, and if like I took a long time for my turn, I'll say that, even though they're muted out for me, I do that one.
I feel like that one is like the hand wave in traffic. You know what I mean? Like when someone cuts you off or does something and you're like super pissed off, but then when they do the hand wave, you're like, oh, okay, fine. You're sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it is. It's like, oh my God, just play something. So thanks for waiting. Oh, no worries, man. I understand.
Oh, okay. I've been there.
Okay.
Understood.
All right. So friending to yell and or bully someone. I know people that just straight up won't accept friend requests from people they don't know, because, it's just super negative vibes when you're sitting there, like, you win a game and someone friends you and you're like, and like I said, I think a lot of people know that people friend people to just badmouth them. So everyone's always like, I don't know. I always just friend them, because I'll be honest with you, since I've been doing the podcast, I want to say 1 out of 20 is a negative friend, and everyone else wants to tell me either good game, or they, what they like the show, or they like the content on YouTube or something. So I always just friend them. Typically I feel bad sometimes because my friend list would be full, and I just immediately go to click the button, not realizing that it says cancel or clean up your whatever. So it declines it. And I'm like, oh no, my bad. But yeah, I mean, it's what I was talking about earlier, right? You win a game, you're feeling good about yourself. You're like, wow, that was a drug out brawl. Like, that's amazing. I pulled it out, right? And then someone friends you, and you want to sure, like, oh man, that's crazy how long that game went, or I can't believe the back and forth, and they're just like, your deck's whack, you're a loser, da da da. Like, this is just absolutely horrible. And then, of course, the next level for that is when you sit there, badmouth someone, and then when they try to respond in any kind of manner, like whether it's to yell back at you or to be like, hey man, I'm sorry, or anything, and then you unfriended them. Like, that's so, like,
that exact thing literally happened to me during one of these ECQs. Like, I can confirm it was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, it's like, how do you even respond? Like, dude, did a video?
I literally, it was a good game, and I literally was expecting like, oh man, what a tight game, blah blah. I was expecting something like that, but it was like this person just came in to talk a bunch of smack, and then like talked a little more smack, and like while I'm replying to the first thing, I'm like, oh, like Jedi said, I'm typing out something like, oh, sorry about like this happened or whatever. Like before I can even get it through, he's already deleted me, so I can't even respond.
Yeah, and the thing is that
drive by negative comments.
Yeah, drive by.
The thing is that you're also closing the door on the opportunity to have you feel better, right? Because I mean, we've all had. I think it's pretty common as well, where you have a conversation like, "Oh my god, dude, you totally blew me out when you did that." For the person to respond, like even you. Like them still kind of, I feel like this is the incorrect term, but throw you a bone, like, oh my god, the turn before when you did this, I totally thought I was gonna lose the game, like it's very easy, and then you feel better about yourself because you're like, well, at least I played the game right. Like maybe things just didn't line up, or like when you just sit there and you're not even venting because you're just gonna stay fumed. I don't know anyone that has ever like smashed their opponent or verbally bashed their opponent and then walked away and felt better. You know what I mean? Like even in tabletop tournaments, I've seen it and even had it with some of my group of friends as well, where they'll get pissed off, and even if they don't like throw something across the table, their mannerisms and stuff project it, and then they and they come back and like they still don't feel better. You know what I mean? So like it's just a lose-lose situation. And of course, like I said, that's an easy way for someone not to want to friend anyone anymore and not to want to play the game. And like, why would you do an action that causes someone, like, we play this game because we enjoy it. So taking an action or steps that not only doesn't improve your mood, but potentially can ruin someone else's and turn them off from this game just seems like a lose-lose situation to me.
Pretty much.
I mean, if you need to vent or something, jump on Discord, right? We've all had those times. That's what one of the things Discord's for. Like, venting to your friends is a little bit better. And who knows, like, maybe they can side with you. Maybe they're like, oh, yeah, I watched the game. Like, this was bad luck. But yeah, that happened. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways if you need that release to do it that's not to the opponent that's somewhat faceless, because you have no idea how they're going to interpret that.
Absolutely.
And let's see. Yeah, 0 of productivity. Yep. Alex, do you want to elaborate more on the venting to your team?
Well, let's see here. Luckily, I have a venting team. I try not to abuse it too much. You guys, Jed, the Homerade a lot. It's like oh, you get to kind of, oh, my bad beat, get it out, and then like it helps you not get tilted. Helps you not use bad sportsmanship to do it instead. I've come to the realization sometimes that I can be a little too sensitive, and it comes from losing the match. Because we're competitive. I know I am, and when I want to win. So when I lose, it's like it feel bad. But luckily, I have someone that can tell me that I'm being whacked. Thanks, John Holio, and puts you in check. Like, nah, that person was just doing normal stuff. You need to like calm down a little bit, So,
I might keep it too real sometimes, but yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's what friends are for. Like, they need to be there to be like, yeah, you totally got the bad end of the luck stick, or like, no, dude, you're overreacting. You totally didn't play that as well as you could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or like, yeah, or just like be cool. Person had hella bombs or whatever the reason. It's like,
and like identify. One last thing I want to talk about that is that going back to the 0 productivity, right? Like if you're just venting about the randomness of it or whatever, how bad that person is, you're not taking anything away from that game that's going to make you better, and that's where you're really missing out on, because you could have learned some interaction or something that could have made you a better player there, and you decide to avoid that. And so I think it's very important to also do that and learn from it, right? If your opponent got a wicked play and a line that you didn't see, like, identify that, add that to your own toolkit, and realize that you lost by a good play. And there's absolutely nothing wrong to having lost a game by someone playing better than you. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It happens all the time. That's why we enjoy this game, because it's competitive. The flip side to that also is that you, instead of tilting that they got the lucky top deck, realize that that was just RNG working in their favor, and it is what it is. Yes, you could still go, I still like to go back into the game and see if there was any plays I could have done differently that could have avoided getting me to that scenario where a lucky top deck could have ended the game, but sometimes it doesn't. And that's a good way to, like, hey, it wasn't your fault, it wasn't anything you did, they just literally top decked the exact card they needed. And I think that helps mitigate it, and just realize that there's no need to blow up on your opponent, because the flip side to that is that you got the bad end of the RNG stick there, right? And they got the high end. But flip it when that's happened to you, right? Where you're like, all right, this is our only out. Oh my God, we drew it. You know, now your opponent is on the bad end of that luck stick. So you have to remember that there's also that yin and yang, or ebb and flow between it. And I think things like that, looking at the bigger picture, will help mitigate a lot of those outburst modes where you're just like, roar, I want to bash someone. So
Yeah, and like staying positive will help you learn something out of the game. Like I can't friend request people anymore because I'm full, which I was going to mention, but before, when I would friend request someone, it's usually like after a loss, like, your deck was awesome, way to go. And it's like people that I have on my friend list now, and like, or on the Discords that I know. It's like it's just, after, that's how you're going to learn something and build a friendship, instead of a drive-by horrible comment. Like, nothing good comes from that. So it's like, yeah. And then so I don't remember the streamer that said it, but your friends list can get too full. Like, and I was having a lot of problems at the beginning with, like, people, like, saying mean things or drive by, like, and then, like, what they did to John, like, erasing, like, deleting the friendship so you can't respond or whatever, like, getting the last word. And then, so someone said that it can get full, and then once it's full, you don't see people's requests. They can't even, like, send you a request. So I, like, filled my friends list, like, with people that I friended after, like, good games. So it's like, and then told them, like, oh, your deck was awesome. So, like, usually I have to delete, well, I do have to always delete people when we have, like, an event or I need to play someone. So, like, that's not fun, that part of it. But if you do fill up your friends list with people that you like, then you don't have that problem of getting a nasty friend request. So you just bear that in mind.
Yep. All right, so the final way that you can show good or bad sportsmanship is bashing someone on the forums or Discord without benefit. Man, this is like being rude to someone on the forums. You have to remember, not everyone is as competitive as you are. So, for example, if you think card choices or card considerations are, lackluster, it's just a straight up zero value, non-productive conversation. Think about whether what you're trying to say is more aggressive versus more neutral, right? Adjusting your approach, and try being more positive and see what happens. Which, I mean, some of these things have overlapped across all of them, but I feel this one might be the most. It's weird, right? Because there's a chance that someone might not see this, because you could be talking about someone. I mean, granted, some people go as far as trying to find someone and tagging them and stuff, so they definitely see it. I guess the best point is that someone might not be on, for example, Reddit and see you bashing them. But the worst thing about this is that you're broadcasting it. So you end up, like, someone can feel twice as bad about this because they're getting called out in public. And the good side is obviously other people can come in to kind of defend the person, but then other people can, like, agree with you, not knowing the context. It's just such it's just bad sportsmanship. Like, that's the best way I could put it. It's just non-productive. And, like, how tilted do you have to be to exit the client, go find another platform, find the person, and then still badmouth them? So yeah, it just don't, like, it really is, like, straight up. I can't think of a reason why this would be good at all. Once again, going back to a previous one, if you need the vent to your closed group on Discord, or shoot your your friend or whoever you're living with. Like there's 80 ways. I mean, vent to your dog, like
That's what I do.
there's just
Poor Jade.
it's just bad. This kind of platform and type of, I mean, for lack of a better term, bullying is definitely one of the things that I've seen cause people to leave a game for sure, and screenshot and post and be like, yep, this is the stuff we're dealing with. It's like, come on, like it's a game, guys. We're here to have fun. So sending it back to you, Alex.
Well, I mean, yeah, like just bashing on Discord is completely uncalled for, and hopefully, the mods regulate that stuff, and you shouldn't have to witness that or experience that too much. But like as far as like good sportsmanship on Discord, it's even like, for me, it used to, full disclosure, it used to bug me a little bit when people would at me with their like, oh, I won on Farming Eternals, beat Darth Herman along the way, and then like, yeah, I was stuck on 3 power. It was like a horrible game. So like, but I've come a long way. Like when anyone does that now to me, for whatever, however I lost, I just give them a heart emote, because it's like I want them to feel good about their 7 wins. I don't want them to like ever feel bad about that. So it's like,
Yeah, I mean that in particular, they're not doing that necessarily to try and get at you. They're it's almost like a badge of honor because they beat the Darth Herman,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
dude,
like,
you totally read my mind, John. Holy crap, almost word for word what I was gonna say. Like, well done, dude.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody's that's like just kind of how it goes there, right? Like,
no, that's
man, this is one of these guys that's always posting 7-win lists, and I beat them. Like, oh,
right. They say his name every show.
right. Yeah, that's all that is. But yeah, no, don't do that in a different. Don't go doing that. Like trying to be like, yeah, suck it, Darth Herman. I hate you. I beat you while I was doing this. I'm the best.
Beat
like,
no,
don't
Darth
do that
along the way. No, but yeah, so just give people a heart emoji, make them feel good about that stuff, because yeah, that's why we're all here. We want to win and have fun while we're doing it. So
I mean,
feel good.
It's honestly the truth, because think about how many times you guys have been on stream. Someone has beat me on stream, and it's not even someone we know, right? Just random people, and then they'll hop in the channel, and they're not like, "Oh, get wrecked, Jedi fool, you suck." Like they're all like, "Hey, man, that was a good game." Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's never.
It's nice,
exactly. And some people have even gone as far as doing, like, once again, really good sportsmanship, which I will throw the disclosure out here. I don't mind it, and I feel like at least half the people don't mind it, but some people, when they lose, still don't like it when you kind of encourage what happened. But yeah, some people have hopped in the channel and be like, man, I'm sorry you got stuck on 3 power. Like, that really stinks. And I still can essentially return the favor, being like, hey, but it was super cool that you did this on turn 5 or whatever. But just as a caveat, just to throw it out there, once again, it goes back to like what we were talking about, the emotes, where you could be saying something like that completely okay, or in a positive manner, and someone interprets it. But, on your end, when you're receiving stuff like this, try not to be the person to be like, yeah, but if I had this and did that and I had this and I could have totally beat you, but, like, don't do that. Don't, because you're downplaying both your gameplay and theirs, and neither of you are deserving of that, right? Like, once again, we like what John just mentioned, where people are talking to you because they value you and they consider you skillful, right? I don't think anyone has ever smashed someone that's a noob. Like, you can tell they're new to the game, so they're playing with a bunch of uncommons and only a couple of rares that aren't really that good. No one ever bashes them. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm amazing, this is awesome, right? You just like, oh, okay, that's a new player, and you move on. So when someone, the flip side of that is when someone does, hey, wow, oh, I beat, John Julio, I beat Cassendrath, I beat Hats on Laps, I beat Darth Herman too. It's more excitement on their end because they feel they beat someone that they may either respect or considered a better player or think highly of. And so realize that that's what's going on, versus someone just jumping into a random person and being like, you suck. So Oh god, I just pictured someone like jumping into my stream after beating Alex and just being bah. They tag Alex in it. They're like at Darth Herman 2, and then they just type like exactly how it is in game. Bah. Oh god, that would be funny. I need to pay someone to do that now.
Oh, whatever.
Actually, yeah, there's
a Twitch alt account for not Jedi.
there's a call to action there for our listeners. If any of you, it's like a reverse bounty. If any of you beat Darth Urban 2 in game, jump on my stream and tag him with Baha. Oh, that would make my day. That would make my day.
They might get 600 seconds of banning, maybe.
It's a great way to tie together this episode on good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
It's fine. You'll ban them and then I'll immediately unban them. Then they'll pay the what is it, the 5,000 midichlorians to like highlight their message to all right, fine. I digress.
Now it's highlighted too. Oh my god.
Oh god.
This is too much.
Delete all that.
No, heck no, man. I can't be the only one to get trolled on my stream. Come on now.
I'm just kidding.
Be excellent to each other out there, guys. Don't blah ha ha.
Also, one last thing that came into mind is that I did mention a lot about going and finding someone, but even generically just bashing someone, it's happened several times. It's happened to me even just talking about a good game or posting a video on YouTube. I highly doubt that it's a fraction of the Eternal community that watches my YouTube channel. And I've posted some games on there and had people, hey, I was your third opponent, like da-da-da-da-da, you know what I mean? So consider that when you're posting on these forums as well, of being like, bro, this dude was a fool and blah, 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 and this and that, because you might not hope to tag that person, but they might read it anyways and be like, hey, yeah, you're talking about B. Sup? So
we had something like that happen on our Discord where somebody was like, man, I had this idiot opponent, do this move. Can you believe this jerk? Kind of something like that.
Oh my god, yeah,
and
that's right.
Their opponent was like on the Discord and they're like, yeah, that was me. It's like, we're a small tight-knit community here, guys. Like even just nonchalantly, like not even, calling out the name, like somebody might literally read that. that was that person. It's just funny like that.
Yeah, that's.
And once again, that goes back to the aggressive approach versus the neutral, right? They could have said the exact same thing and just been like, man, my opponent did this. That was so frustrating. And put it a little more on them than like projecting it. And then it opens up the dialogue. And even then, I think the person that responded wasn't even like, yo, dude, that was me or anything. It was like, yeah, I did that because this happened and this, and I had this in my hand.
They took it so well. It was like, it could have been much worse.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. And that just shows you the difference of approach, right? Someone kind of at a low level of vibration versus someone operating at a higher level of vibration. Instead, they flipped it and neutralized the situation. So
yeah, good point.
And once again, it opens up the door to a better interaction, right? If you present it in a manner where it encourages people to respond, you have the opportunity for someone to mitigate the damage of it. Like, hey, yeah, I totally got lucky there and topped that card. If not, you totally had me dead. And then they were gonna say what you would have preferred to say anyways, but they said it, so you have the opportunity to feel better about it, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not downplaying their play. You're not being like, oh, they got lucky. Like, they only did it because that was the automatic play. It's not like, hey, man, my opponent played this really well. Actually, dude, I just got really lucky, man. I'm sorry. That's RNG. It creates a better environment and leads to a more productive outcome versus just, once again, being a bad sport and just bashing someone. So
one last little thing on this. I don't remember what the thing was a little shout out to Jedi showing better sportsmanship than honestly I think I would have, but someone like misplayed against you, like gross misplay, like they misclicked, they had you dead on board and you like totally conceded the game to them, like even though you could have like swung for lethal. So like I told you, I was like, man, that was like really good sportsmanship. Like, no, I was dead. I was like, in an ECQ maybe not. I mean, it was a draft game and you did that, so I don't know. Kudos to you, my friend.
Thanks, dude.
I
I
don't
didn't realize it
if you
sounded
remember.
so gloomy, but yeah. I think I do remember what you're talking about. I think they played like the kill spell at the end of their. Oh, I think it was a pump spell, right? Then they played it at the end of their turn instead of at the beginning of mine, I think, or something. Like it was just a technical error that
It wasn't clear for whatever reason, like that it was still their turn or whatever.
yeah,
Like they tried to pump like
their flyer or
with, I think
something.
it was raw strength even, like, and they didn't do it during the attack, and then they did it post, like they did it during their second main or whatever after the attack, and like they were a new player, I think, or something, and you like totally gave them the game. So that was really nice of you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit, I don't always feel great about doing that. Like, it's not super easy. Like, oh yeah, this is 100% the right thing to do, and I feel great about it. Like, I am like, but I mean, once again, putting the shoe on the other foot, I get it. Like, it's something that I feel, especially if it's something that I feel only happened because it's a digital platform, right? And some people can make the argument that it is part of the game. Like, you just have to know how to navigate the UI, and I understand that, but I also understand when there's things that just wouldn't happen in real life, right? Where you're like, oh no, like I meant this to do that, but it was a misclick. You know how many times I've passed the turn or played the card that I drew because I'm just randomly clicking the in the area and the card that I draw pops up and then immediately plays it. I'm just like, like
That's the worst.
so yeah, I can count on one hand how many times I've conceded games because my opponent showed me the win and just some accident happened. So it's not very often, but I don't know. I like to feel like I'm building some good karma when I do that because I mean, there's nothing worse than that, right? Where you straight up had the win and just because of a technical error is when you lost, right? Like when you have it's happened to us a couple of times where I've questioned an interaction. Like, does anyone know how this stacks in this game or how this works? Does this work like I think it does or doesn't? And then you're like, oh, well, it didn't work the way I thought it did. So I guess we lose. So but thanks. I guess I appreciate that humble brag, I guess. I don't even know what category that would fall under, but thanks.
No one's ever like, I've never screwed up and then my opponent conceded and was like, you're welcome, you screwed up, but you should have won. Like, no one ever has done that. Usually I get like a space and die after that, like.
Yeah. Bah, thanks for the gift.
Right. Get wahaha.
There's a wahaha.
Oh man. I don't know. All right, maybe that's what I go down for knowing. Like Jedi punts enough games and he even has punt insurance for his opponents.
Punt insurance.
All right, that's gonna do it for our main topic, guys. John Holy, do you have any more closing statements as we put a bow on this one?
No, it's like I said a minute ago. Just be excellent to each other.
Yeah, be nice to one another.
Yep, well put. All right, guys. Hope this one helps you. So let's move right along into our what's the play. All right, what's the play? Our opponent has 0 power up. We have 5. They're Rakano. We are Menace. So fire, primal, shadow. Man, I'm getting pretty good at that. I'm actually I think it's starting to come like second nature as far as all the trifaction representation. Anywho, Our opponent's at 18. We're at 27 life. We have 3 cards in hand that includes a Biting Winds, a corrupted Umbran, banished Umbran, the 2/3. I'm sorry, Biting Winds is the 3 primal, deal 6 damage to an attacking enemy unit. Banished Umbran is the 3 shadow 2/3 with some additional text that doesn't matter at the moment, and the not Mark Maker, right? No, what? Yeah, it is Mark Maker.
Yeah, Mark Maker.
Okay, Mark Maker, the 3 and a red, 3/2 Oni that puts a +1 on over 1 weapon on another unit, and it has corrupt 2, I believe, maybe corrupt 1. I don't remember now. Anywho, we have a 6/6 Dancing Flame and a 3/5 Flying Marsh Dragon in play. Our opponent has the 1/3 Steel Stranger that when a stranger attacks, it put a random battle skill on the top unit of your deck. A 3/2 Xenon or Zoltan Paladin, I believe, and then the Kodosh's Stranger. Is that what that one is? The 2/2, the legendary 2/2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that one is whenever you play a stranger, the top unit of your deck gets stat bonus up to according to that stranger's stats, and then when it attacks, double Kodash's stranger's attack and health. Yeah. So once again, opponent at 18, we're at 27, and we have cards in hand. So John, let's start off with you. What's your play here?
So this one's like a little tricky. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I think this works is like, let's say the opponent has just something like a buff, like a finest hour. They could, at their turn starts, they could just go ahead and buff the stranger, Kodasha stranger, +3/+3, making it a 5/5. And then when it attacks, it'll be a 10/10 before you can respond with like the biting winds, for example. Is that right?
Yes.
So
Wait,
that makes it
wait,
like,
no, wait. Yeah, because they do it. Yeah, if they do it both. Yeah, yes, correct.
right. So if that's the case, so let's say they make it a 5/5. So yeah, 10/10. Like, I guess you could still block with like the dancing flame and biting winds. So maybe there is an argument to just holding up the biting winds here. I don't know. Like, initially I was thinking, if they have the pump, they're just going to do it pre-combat and then it won't matter. But like, I guess you could just kind of double up on the block, you could block and biting winds. And I mean, that'd be a huge loss of resources, but you can't just let this stranger get out of control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when something doubles like that can just, once that gets out of control, all you can do is answer with like a hard removal spell, right? At that point. So this is kind of tough. Like, there's also the fact that like adding, for example, a mark maker buff to the dragon here doesn't really change the clock. So I don't know. I guess I'm thinking this turn just attack with like the marsh dragon only, and hold back with the 6/6, and then just hold up biting winds as extra insurance here.
Okay.
It's pretty passive play, but I think that might be the right line here. What do you guys think?
Alex?
So when I first looked at this, I was like, ooh, Hats on Lamps is stuck on power. Let's get aggressive and try to take him out. But John then terrified, the life out of me with like the potential stranger getting out of control, and then you can't deal with it at all. So like, yeah, the 6/6 holds up the ground pretty good. You can swing for 3 and leave the biting winds up. And then you have the mark maker play onto the 6/6 later for like a finishing blow, potentially. Because you're still aggressive by attacking. Like John said, it's the same clock. And it's safer and aggressive, though, still, because you're still swinging for 3. So, I think that is the play as well. Hold up the biting winds and swing for 3.
All right. So a couple of other lines that I saw. So let me make a small correction on you guys first. Actually, putting the +1 weapon on the Marsh Dragon actually is going to change the clock. Because of the fact that they're at 18, there's significantly more attacks that have to happen with the Marsh Dragon for it to be lethal. And right now, as is, with them at 18 and the Marsh Dragon at 3, it would be 6 attacks to get them dead, versus putting the Mark Maker on it would actually cut at least one of those attacks off the board. Maybe even 2, right? Because it'll go 15, 12, 9, 6, 3 dead. Then if you put the +1 weapon on it, it's actually 14, 10, 6. So you cut 1 attack off the clock, or 1 turn. So it actually does change the clock, but obviously it's a little less important right now with such a high life total. But that is a perfectly good consideration as well. I think it's fine because it does put another blocker on the ground. It does put, like you mentioned, any kind of potential pump spell on the Kodash Stranger out of range from your double block to kill it. You could double block, or chump block though, because you do get a corrupted unit off of it. So that is a consideration as well. Another option is just to play the Banished Umbran, because that's the weakest unit, and then use that as a chump blocker. And it's a little awkward. Your Biting Winds is probably the safest play here. My issue with that is the fact that I really have a hard time not further developing our board, especially when our opponent's stuck on power. So what I ended up doing, and I don't think it was wrong, but I will admit, and I actually would love to talk to Hats on Lamps on and see if this was the play, because they actually, full disclosure, they end up winning this game with a combo of 2 cards that's not in play right now. And I think he actually came on stream to tell me that he high rolled it. I don't remember now necessarily, but what I ended up doing is playing the Mark Maker and putting that weapon on the Dancing Flame. And the reason why I did that is looking at the other side of the board. Once again, we've identified that Hats on Lamps is missing power, and that Kodos Stranger is extremely scary, both on offense and even just sitting there, right? It doesn't take too many strangers in your deck for that passive ability of buffing the rest of your units, right? To get out of hand. And so, especially since it stacks, right? If he plays another, like he just gave a +2/+2 playing that stranger to the top of his deck. If that top of his deck is just even the generic fixing stranger, when he plays that stranger, it's going to give a +4/+4 to another card in his deck, which can easily...
Yeah, it's snowbally.
Yeah. So that card is extremely scary. And so, and Hats on Lamps, once again, going back to respecting him as a good player, I would not put it past him to have an early read on a Biting Winds if we don't do anything on 5 power. And so what I end up doing is, once again, playing the Mark Maker, putting the +1/+1 or +1 and over 1 weapon on the Dancing Flame, and A spacing. And the reason why I did that is because looking at their side of the board, they have 1/3, a 3/2, and a 2/2, right? So that's a total of 6 damage to be able to take our Dancing Flame, but it's 7 health. So if I just attack with a Dancing Flame, we would get a 2-for-1, but he has a chance of leaving the, or well, I guess I would pick the blockers. But either way, I just wanted to get aggressive. I wanted to clear the board out, and so doing that gives him the option of taking out the Dancing Flame, but he would lose all 3 of his units in response to that. And so it would be like a 1.5 for a 3, and then we would still have a 3/5 flyer and a 3/2 on the board and a Biting Winds in hand for any additional threat. And so, and then I made him make the choice, and then it forces him to either, okay, you're either going to take 7 or 10 damage this turn and fall down to 8, which significantly
2-turn clock here, like that.
Versus, and or lose your Kodos Stranger, right? And granted, we don't know his deck. He knows his deck. Kodos Stranger is just scary. You have to respect that card. And so I felt like that was a really good position for us to get a read on where Kodos Stranger sits in his deck, as well as just being a value play. And so that's what I went with. And so
that's interesting. I like it.
Yeah. So
I can get behind that actually.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say I wanted your guys' opinion on it, but yeah, I wanted to get a little aggressive here, and
like it's a high risk, high reward play. That's not the kind of thing I would normally expect you, not the kind of line I would expect you to normally take, Jedi.
Well, I like to learn from my mistakes.
That's normally something like I might like just try and, it's like, let's just press the advantage, get in there. So what happened then? Right?
Like what did Hats do?
So he went for the trade. He actually traded the 3 for 1, which
wow.
Another thing too is we did have a Triumphant Return in our deck. So it wasn't a complete loss to losing that Dancing Flame, and it would have been a good target to get back as well, being on the baseline in 8/8, maybe an 8/8 that costs 3, or an 8/8 with charge, or or maybe even a 10/10. So that was another reason why I was kind of okay with it. But of course, usually as the fashion goes, so he went and traded. He fell down to 15, and all 3 of his guys died. And then he played. We also knew, I think this was the game where he knew he had 2 Arbalest in play. I don't remember. I think so. I think we've identified the 2 of the cards of his hand were 2 Arbalest as well. So long story short, he played a Stewart, the 1/4 that we kind of ignored, but then high rolled it. Oh, it got high rolled by the Steel Stranger, so it had Berserk and Lifesteal. And so I had planned I developed my board that turn and then was going to leave up the biting winds to kill it if we needed to. And then he, pre-combat, hit it with, wait, how did he give it flying? He gave it flying somehow. Oh, I think he crescendoed it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it had Berserk and Lifesteal, and then he crescendoed it to give it flying. And then on our turn, he pre-combat gave it, it was either pre-combat or not. I don't remember. Either way, he gave it, oh my God, draw strength. So I got a +4/+4, which put it out of range of our biting winds, and then smashed us for 16. Or no, wait, it was, so it would have been 5. And he got a, oh my God, he went down a siege provisions as well, I think. I don't remember, but it swung in for like a huge amount of lifesteal damage. And so he just completely came back from this game and took it down that way. So yeah, that's what ended up going down. So it's hard to say if that was the correct play or not. I feel like my misplay came 2 turns later, where I played the Vow Collaborator because we were still stuck on 5, which was a little awkward because our whole hand was 3s. So I played a Vow Collaborator instead of leaving up the biting winds. And so the second Arbalest took out our Vow Collaborator, when if I had just biting winds, left up the biting winds and took out the Arbalest, it would have, but I don't think we had a target for Arbalest, so he wouldn't have played it there. I don't remember. Like, I have to go back and look at the VOD, but I identified that was my misplay that game, I feel like. Or not misplay, but suboptimal play there. But I do remember being stuck on 5 because, why wouldn't I have not left biting winds up if I could have? So I think we didn't have a good target for Arbalest, so that's why I ran out the Vow Collaborator, thinking that was okay taking up the Arbalest turn. But obviously we got blown out by the double or the combat trick, stopping us from taking their lifesteal unit. So that's why I think he might have said it was a high roll. I don't remember, but it was a very interesting game. But this was this was one of the bigger decisions to make here. So that's why I wanted to bring it up. So as usual, let me know in the comments below what play you liked, whether it was John's, Alex, or mine, or I think both of you guys were on the same play, actually. I think it was just to leave up biting winds and attack with the dragon, right?
Yeah. No, I think the fact that you were like with your line, you got the triple block out of them. I think like that kind of makes it pretty good in my mind, right? Like in as far as how it turned out, even if you didn't win the game, like
and
I think that's a pretty good outcome, I think, for this situation.
Yeah, it just, and then I almost feel like there wasn't a decision though, right? Because thinking about it, if Hats didn't block, right, it was gonna have overwhelm. So it was either triple block or you don't block at all. And taking 10 here, going down to 8 with a Marsh Dragon seems super risky. So maybe there just wasn't a decision there, right?
Just depends on what their hand is.
Yeah, I guess so.
If it's 4 and 5 drops and no power, well, you gotta take off the Band-Aid, rip it off now and just trade them all off.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, what's the play. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I felt like that was a pretty decent one. Thank you guys for your input. And this leads us down to our constructed corner, which I will talk about a little off the top normal usual topic deck. But first, John, we have a QCP coming up this weekend. So why don't you go ahead and break that down for our listeners?
See, the thing this weekend is one of these, it's a QCP challenge tournament. It's basically an ECQ, except it's like smaller scale, I would say, like there's less on the line, and it's cheaper to enter. But as far as how the games play out and things like that, it's very, very similar.
What's the cost of entry?
I think it's 11,000 gold. I don't remember how many gems. 11 versus the normal ECQs are like 35,000.
Okay.
Something like that. So like it's meant to be like a stepping stone of sorts, like to get into competitive Eternal. Like you could, if you're thinking about ECQs and things like that, this would be a good place to start out. But at the same time, it is itself a very competitive event. Like people bring their best stuff. Like this is only the second one of these to happen in Eternal, and this is the first one that's throne format. The last one was expedition. But I participated in the last one, and I mean, it felt just like an ECQ as far as like the level of play. Like your average opponent was, bringing their best, like their best game, their best deck. Like it felt very competitive, but it was really cool, really fun. And so there's one of those this weekend, and that earns, if you place well, you'll earn a certain number of these QCPs, which that's basically what the topic is here. Real quick, we want to talk about the 2020 Spring Championship, which is what you're earning these points to hopefully qualify for. So it's coming up quick, and this is one of the last opportunities out there to earn points for this next championship is this tournament this weekend. The only other ways I think going forward is just your leaderboard placements this month. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the last chance. And so the Expedition Spring Championship, that'll be played May 8th weekend, 8th through 10th, and then the Throne version, the Throne Spring Championship, will be played the next weekend, May 15th through 17th. I guess they received the community feedback regarding doing this on the same weekend last time and have fixed that, thankfully. And so in order to enter those spring events, those championships, you have to have accumulated at least 25 of these spring QCPs or quarterly championship points before May 1st, 2020. So yeah, this is April. So yeah, like this, the end of month rewards as far as leaderboard placements will be the last opportunity to earn these points. So 25 gets you the ability to play in either event in total, if you have 25 in total, and you can do both. Like in the prior one, it tracked them separately, and in this one, they are tracked just together. And if you get that amount, you can choose to do either Throne or Expedition or both. It doesn't matter. It's totally up to you, which is pretty cool. And then if you've accumulated 75 of these points, you start each tournament with 3 wins already. So instead of giving you a full buy for day one this time, you just have like a leg up on the competition. So it's still cool if you've accumulated that many. You just start out ahead, and it's definitely still worth it to go for those players. But just 25, and you get to play in this event. So it's coming up soon.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll be participating in it as well. Alex, are you gonna try your luck on this one?
Well, I'm entered, so might as well.
Oh, sweet, nice. All right, cool. Hope you guys got a little something that I do encourage everyone to dabble in a little constructed fun if you can. Why not? And if it's not your cup of tea, it's perfectly okay. Thanks for that breakdown, John. Really appreciate that.
Sure.
And now for the deck list. Like I said, we're going to be doing something a little different this week, and I'm actually going to be breaking down a budget gauntlet deck today, courtesy of Sizzle Steam for the inspiration. I did build this one myself off of memory, but he had the original construction of it, and I think I'm fairly close to it. But yeah, we have various listeners of the show at various levels, and there's people that enjoy grinding gauntlet. And so I wanted to cater to that crowd a little bit. And this is a good way for beginning players to kind of start generating gold if they're not super excited about climbing ladder all the time for draft, golds for draft. So this deck, breaking it down very quickly, once again, it is a budget Argenport list. So I have a handful of rares, but no legendaries. And this is 4 Ghostblade Outcast, 4 Spiteful Strike, 4 Hojin Crownbreaker, 2 Immortalize, 3 Corendon Stewart, 4 Vara's Favors, 4 Hidden Road Smugglers, 4 Silverwing Familiar, 4 Slay, 4 Unfinished Business, 4 Unseen Commando, 4 Corrupted Umbran, 4 Memory Treasure, 5 Justice Sigil, 5 Shadow Sigil, 4 Argenport Banner, Argenport Insignia, Crest of Vengeance, and 4 Seat of Vengeance. The market consists of an Annihilate, a Vanquisher's Blade, a Fell Ritual, a Lothrai Falchion, and a Vara Fate Touched. This is the legendary Big Vara, but I believe everyone gets her. Gets one of her through doing the tutorial, so that's why I included her. So this is the budget variant. Obviously, you guys can add some legendaries or additional rares to make it a little bit better. I have one gauntlet. I didn't take a record and be like, oh, I went 37-1. I didn't bother doing that. This deck is fun. The premise behind this deck mainly is that it's built for Gauntlet. Particularly, I have a lot of lifesteal in here because sometimes because you can't do the desperate redraw. Sometimes you get stuck with a little bit of a slower hand and things like that. So the lifesteal helps you kind of get back. And then it's a very low curve, topping out at 5 or 4 unless you're pulling Vara out of the market. So you can accommodate not hitting, potentially getting semi stuck on power. The biggest premise of this deck is playing Unfinished Business on something like Hojin or Ghostblade Outcast, and then that way whenever it dies, you put the Exalted Weapon back on a bigger unit, and then getting that modified Ghostblade Outcast back with Memory Treasure attacks. And it's a lot of fun when you get the engine going. That's the reason I'm running things like Silverwing, because it's flying, it already has lifesteal, and it has Aegis. Corrupted Umbran is a great tool for it as well, because just using the Unfinished Business on it, you're making an 8/9 that can attack twice. If I made one modification to the deck, I would add a little bit more removal. Sometimes just 4 pieces in the main with access to some in the market sometimes feels okay, sometimes it doesn't. Spiteful Strike is in there because that also combos very well with Unfinished Business, though I will admit, plus it's easier to keep at 1 power. This deck is built, once again, towards the AI because there's some interactions that the AI is going to make. For example, like if you have a Corendon Steward in play, the AI will not attack with any unit that it thinks is better than the Corendon Steward because the Steward has Deadly. That's also a good thing to give Unfinished Business to. And things like that. Vara's Favor, I like that because you really don't need all that much justice in this deck. Minus Unseen Commando, and there's a lot of things in the gauntlets that you can kill with the 1 damage, as well as break Aegis off of like the Flyers deck and things like that. So I think the deck is fun, especially when you get the engine going and you're able to reoccur that 6/6 lifesteal Exalted Ghostblade over and over again. But yeah, the deck is fun. I like it. Falchion can probably go, honestly. I put a lot of lifesteal in here. My thing is that you could put it on, like, for example, the Memory Treasure or the Steward. It triggers Hojin pretty well. But honestly, it's probably a little bit overlapping. But yeah, that's the deck. Super simple, but it's a lot of fun, and I feel like it's very successful in Gauntlet. It's done pretty well against the final bosses as well. So and because of all the lifesteal, you can mitigate a lot of those more aggressive decks that the Gauntlet plays sometimes, where it takes advantage of you getting stuck on power. It's like, you only get 1 redraw. So, yep, that's the deck. Nothing special there. Do either of you guys Gauntlet at all?
I mean, occasionally I do.
It's okay to say no.
I do. I actually do sometimes. Like, when I have connection issues or am multitasking or something, I don't want to waste somebody's time with the rope or something. Yeah, I'll do the occasional Gauntlet. It's definitely not my jam though.
Or when you get the win.
Win the Gauntlet boss.
Yeah, so that's why I don't
True.
do my Gauntlet until I get one of those, and then that way I can get the extra gold from it.
I will say this, I do sometimes test a deck. If I'm doing like a 100% brew, like I have no idea, it's not like a known value brew, I will sometimes run it through Gauntlet just to not, tank my rating or whatever. Not my rating, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Not fall in the ladder before I do it.
Well, they have those casual queues. Like I was doing that for Expedition until they finally added, the practice mode for Expedition as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's really no reason to try to do your real, your ladder decks versus Gauntlet anymore. Like the Gauntlet just does some completely unfair things, and then like doesn't play at all like a human does. So it's not really actually good for testing at all.
It has its own like meta and quirks and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's gonna do it, guys. Let me know if any of you try this deck. Once again, shout out to Sizzle Steam for having the base version of it, and yeah, let me know if you have some fun with this deck, if that's something you will try, or if we can make some modifications to it. But that's gonna do it. Once again, I want to mention that the written draft article is up on EternalWarcry.com, and then of course the guys at shiftstone.com. put up the rating system that we did for the commons and for all of Echoes of Eternity is on there as well now. So as you see the cards in the power calculator, you can they also added the actual visuals of the cards. When you hover over it, you will see the actual card as well. So kudos to those guys, MLNTN, Waffle Eater, and Papa Capricorn, for putting in all that additional work to make another great useful tool for us. Check out the YouTube, check out Twitch, twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ, where you can catch myself and these two fantastic gentlemen 4 days a week, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And check out the YouTubes. Join the Discord if you want to talk about Eternal all the time. We have a fantastic community there. Super great people. We're growing every day. I'm absolutely having a blast there. Yeah. You guys got anything else to add?
Come hang out.
Yeah, it's super fun.
All right. Well, let's get to it, guys. So let's call it a show here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. John, Alex, thank you guys again for always giving me the time, your personal time, to make the community a better place. And we really appreciate all the feedback you guys are giving us. More and more often we hear people saying that they've gotten better at drafting or tried to draft now thanks to this show and some of the other content we put out. So I really appreciate that. Really makes all this worth it. I think it's great. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, as always, happy gaming.
Good night.
Good luck in your draft queues, everyone.